So, I have a weird relationship with sports games. I absolutely hate sports sims, your Madden, your FIFA, etc. Can't stand them. But I love and have a lot of nostalgia actually for more arcadey sports titles. I grew up at a time where sports games were more arcadey in general. The most popular sports games when I was growing up were ones like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, etc. So those are the type of sports games I've always enjoyed. And in terms of soccer games, I don't know if I've ever really played a soccer game that I liked besides Mario Strikers. I'm still hoping we get another entry in that series someday. But yeah, my hope going into it was that Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions would sort of scratch that itch. So I picked up a Switch copy of the game and wanted to discuss today if this game does just that. Let's start with the visuals. They're great in my opinion. You've got a 3D anime style that reminds me a lot of the various Dragon Ball Z games we've gotten in recent years, at least for the characters. Environments are pretty basic as you've only got a couple of generic stadiums, which is no surprise. The frame rate I wanted to address early because I've heard there were a lot of complaints about the Switch version. Myself, I thought frame rate held up pretty good. I don't know if the game got like a day one patch or something, but yeah, it's not as high as maybe you'd like, but I didn't notice frequent stuttering or anything like that. As always, when I review Switch games, all the gameplay you're seeing is from the Switch version, so you can make your own decision on how you feel about how the game performs. And in typical anime fashion, everything is turned up to 11 in terms of action, which will slide us a bit into the gameplay, because this is a soccer game. The focus is on getting the ball into the goal more times than your opponent's team. But yeah, it's anime, so you have insanely over-the-top moves for just about every action, whether it be passing, shooting, or stealing the ball, some of which get better as you grow the character, and each player is spec'd obviously to be better at different positions. Some will be swifter and can dodge around opponents with ease, and on the other end of the spectrum you've got your thick boy defender types that will just run right through the opposition. All characters have a stamina meter which drains as you sprint, and having more allows you to pull off different moves. Also, the goalie's stamina drains as they block shots, so the lower it is, the more likely they'll be unable to block the next shot. So you want to deplete it by getting as many shots on goal as you can, so you can eventually finish them off for a goal. It can't be understated how cool some of these moves are, and how tricky some of them are to pull off. Like, I could see a lot of strategy developing on just how to set stuff up, as with some moves you'll need even like two specific players to be positioned together. Like, you could have a brother duo who, when they're near each other and one does a fully charged shot, they'll do like a super shot together where they both kick the ball at the same time. Of course, all the special moves have crazy effects, different acrobatic moves the players will perform. So much fun. But yeah, with different moves needing different requirements to be met before you can perform them, and with how powerful they are, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of unique strategy in the game that comes out of that. And there's actually a fair amount of story content in this game, so let's move into that. There are two episodes, campaigns essentially, the Tsubasa episode and the New Hero episode. The Tsubasa episode follows, obviously, the Captain Tsubasa, as the game is named after, as he takes his middle school team through a tournament against teams from other schools. Now, this game is based on an anime, a manga actually before that I'm not familiar with, but I definitely get the feel that these are events from that, like this is coming from some source material, possibly a retelling of one of the arcs or something like that, because as with many licensed games, it throws a lot at you rapid fire, especially in terms of the relationships between the different characters. Yes, you'll see all sorts of bonding, rivalries develop, even some romantic relationships possibly bloom while players are both on and off the field. But the pacing does make it feel more like you're hitting the highlights of a story or something like that. And likely in the anime or the manga, these things were stretched out over a longer period. Maybe in the source material, they explain like why there are sellouts in massive stadiums of people coming to watch these middle schoolers play soccer. I thought that was kind of odd. I also got to mention a major plot point I had an issue with. Why in God's name is anyone letting this kid play when he collapses pretty much every single game? That's like a plot point in every match. Oh, is Tsubasa gonna die this time? Even worse, he's like trying to score painkillers from the team's doctor so he can keep playing. I want to know, where are his parents? Now, the Tsubasa storyline is pretty short, will probably take you around, 4 or 5 hours to play through it. But then there's the New Hero campaign, which is quite a bit longer. Here you create your own original player. This has more of an RPG element as your created character gains XP, levels up, you spend skill points and different attributes, and even customize different moves and abilities for them. And there are dialogue options that can slightly change the course of things here, like you can befriend different characters to learn new moves. In this storyline, once again, you're playing through a tournament. You get to choose one of the teams that was featured in the Tsubasa story to join and play with as you learn more about those characters. And each school will have its own take on this story, but regardless, once you win that tournament with all the schools, you go on to Worlds, where you form a Team Japan with the All-Stars from the teams you previously played against to take on reps from other countries, Germany, Italy, Uruguay, all kinds of places. Of course, each country's players have their own things they're going through story-wise, so you'll also be learning about them here as you all vie to be the best team in the world. This one, like I said, is much longer than the Tsubasa storyline, probably around twice as long, maybe a bit more. Overall, I like the story mode stuff in this game, plenty of good fun anime cheese, but some of the dialogue sequences dragged on too long for me. Like, most of the story is told with the different characters just standing around talking to each other, and yeah, some of it goes on a bit long. Like, it could be 10-15 minutes straight of just dialogue. I would have trimmed that down a bit. And once you complete the New Hero storyline, your created character will be usable in other modes. So let's talk about some of the other stuff you do in this game. There is, of course, a versus mode where you can just have a match or tournament style play with up to 4 other players or against the AI. What I like about this on Switch is you do have the link play option, so you can play with your friends on linked switches so you can each use your own screen instead of all having to huddle around and share one. Also, you can create and customize your own team. You get to do everything, create their uniforms, the team emblem, name them obviously, as well as choose which players get to be on your team. And then you can take that team into online play and play against others. There are both ranked and player matches. Using a team repeatedly will allow it to level up, and you accrue points from playing that you spend in a loot box style system to unlock items and character cards that allow you to train up, unlock new abilities in that. Now, as soon as you see this, I know the concern. Loot boxes, just as in something like, say, FIFA, must mean microtransactions, must mean players can dump a bunch of money into buying packs to get the most powerful cards. Surprisingly, no. Even though the system seems built for that reason, there are no microtransactions in this game. The only way to get more of these packs is to play more of the game, which is great. In terms of the online play, the connectivity, it was very hit or miss for me. I would highly recommend prioritizing great connection in the search window. May take longer, but you're more likely to end up with better connections for your games. Also, I like that there's this sportsmanship meter that you can also prioritize while searching for matches, as if you disconnect from games, your sportsmanship meter goes down, and you can prioritize players with a similar sportsmanship ranking as you, which will make you more likely to match with someone who isn't going to rage quit. My only concern with this mode, as is often the case with online stuff where your characters get stronger, is how welcoming it'll be for new players down the line. I've already matched up with some people that had a much stronger team than me just to see what it would be like, and I got absolutely stomped. I felt like there was nothing I could do. So I do worry a bit that it's going to be hard for new players to get into this mode later on when there's less other new people coming into play against, and most of the people that are playing have been playing for a long time and have really strong teams. Still lots of fun though, and I could see people getting very much into this mode. So yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this game. To me, this is what a FIFA game would be like if it was actually fun, and anime on top of that. It's probably simpler in a lot of ways. I'm sure the sim games are deeper, but this over-the-top anime vibe is way cooler and more interesting, engaging in my opinion. If you're like me and you don't enjoy sims but do enjoy more arcadey sports games, you may want to check this one out. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions in the comments. Have you been playing the game, and do you think it's going to scratch that more arcadey sports itch that some may have? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of Captain Tsubasa Rise of Champions on Nintendo Switch. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you want to keep the conversation going, hit me up on Twitter at Johnny Zakari. And join my Discord, ChiGuy and Friends. Link to both in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.